In the beginning, there was no sound, only the void. And God said, "Let there be sound."
Mr. Watson, come here. I want to see you.
And the voice of man rang out, and voiceover was born. And God said, "It is good." Talkin' Voiceovers with Rick Sellers and Wes McCraw. The big podcast where we talk all things voiceover. And now, Rick Sellers and Wes McCraw.
Meanwhile, our heroes, Rocket J. Squirrel and Bullwinkle J. Moose...
Hey, wait a minute! It's not our show!
Oh, sorry. Rick and Wes prepare for their interview with voice actor and master impressionist Rachel Butera.
Rachel's been long recognized as one of the best female master impressionists ever!
She appears regularly on The Howard Stern Show,
voicing celebrities such as Wanda Sykes, Rosie O'Donnell, Whoopi Goldberg, Joan Rivers,
amongst others, Bullwinkle. She's done character voices in films such as Tom and Jerry, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, The Boss Baby,
Royal Enchantimals, The Ark.
And on television, she's been Natasha on The New Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle.
I love that show!
Me too, Bullwinkle. And now, on with the show. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Rachel Butera.
Heyo.
Rachel Butera, how are you?
I'm all right, man. You know, hanging in there.
Hey, where are you at? Are you out in L.A. or are you on the East Coast?
I'm in L.A. I'm still here. I'm in my vocal booth that I had built last year during the
whole COVID
times.
thing.
Yeah.
Everybody had that going for sure.
Yep, I had to do the exact same thing. So I'm glad I did it, though. It's a great time saver.
Yeah,
how are you holding
totally.
up? I know it's 10 o'clock your time. Are you awake?
Oh, yeah. I'm an early riser. I'm usually up on a bike ride by 8 a.m.
Wow.
Good for you.
Getting all healthy and fit. Very cool.
Yeah, I'm so fit.
We appreciate you getting up and being ready to perform.
Of course. Always happy to talk to you.
All right, great. Let's introduce ourselves. Rachel, I'm Rick Sellers. I'm the voice talent. I'm sure you've heard me on TV with my pal Shaq doing the general spots for the General Insurance Company. With the best car insurance rates, right, Shaq? You got a General. So, anyhow, and this is Mr. Wes McCraw.
Yeah, I'm Wes McCraw, engineer, musician, audio producer, doggy daddy.
He does it all. He does it all. And
awesome.
He's incredibly sexy. So,
oh, man.
Just saying.
Silver Fox.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Let's find out a little bit about you before we really get into it. Where were you born?
I was born in Bloomfield, New Jersey.
Uh-huh.
Jersey girl.
Yeah, I'm a Jersey girl. I lived there for most of my life, and I moved to New York City briefly for about a year and a half when I was like 30. And then back to Jersey for a couple of years until I moved to L.A.
And how long have you been out there now?
10 years and counting.
Wow, it's been some time then. I kind of thought of you as an overnight success, but I was checking out your IMDb, and I'm like, she's done a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty cool. Very cool.
Yeah. It's been quite a journey.
How did you get started as a voice actor?
So I could always do the voices, but didn't know that was a thing you could do for a job. And I was working at a corporate job, and a friend of a friend somehow she was working at an animation studio in New York City and knew I could do like imitations and stuff. And the girl who was doing the cartoon couldn't finish it, and they needed a voice match for it. So she asked me to record something, and I sent it in, and I booked it. And so that was like the first thing. And then from there, I was doing some audiobooks with Audible. I was just sort of like taking time out of my regular work to go sneak away and do some audiobooks.
Yeah.
So it started kind of slowly and just like, oh, maybe I could do this. I don't know. Like, it wasn't like, I'm going to, it was like, maybe this is a side gig where I can make extra money.
Yeah. That seems to be such a reoccurring theme. Every voice actor I think we've interviewed, it never started out with, I knew from day one I was going to be a voice actor. And it's always one of those things where I just started doing this thing on the side and it became a career,
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I didn't know.
I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name who does
Bob Bergen.
Donald
Porky
Duck.
Pig. Bob Bergen. Always knew.
Bob Bergen is Porky Pig, and Daniel Ross is the voice of Donald Duck.
Rick, do you do a Tom Arnold impression? Because you should.
I do not do a Tom Arnold.
God, you got to do that.
I'll have to think about it. He's not really in the news that much anymore, but
but it's
I never
just
thought
a
of
funny
that.
one.
That would work for you.
yeah.
I can hear it. I hear it.
Oh, well, I'll have to give it a little shot. Usually what I do is I'm watching television and I figure out who I can do, and then I'll slowly begin to imitate them. I watch a lot of Turner movie classics and do old character actors and old movie stars, stuff like that.
I get a lot of really interesting voicemails.
Yeah, some of them are very naughty.
Most of them are not fit for public consumption.
We couldn't play them. We get in major trouble.
So not PC.
But
That's
anyhow,
awesome.
well, Wes and I are both big Howard Stern fans, and last episode on our pod, we had Peter Michael, who you've worked with a couple of different times, and you guys are both doing regular political and celebrity character voices on the show. Can you tell us who you're doing?
I don't know if I can. It's did he tell you who he was doing?
He said he wasn't sure if he could, so we didn't press him. I said, you know what? If you don't want to say, you don't have to.
Yeah, it's
I don't want to get you in trouble. You don't have to do anything you don't want to.
All right, yeah, I'm just not quite sure. Actually, I should have. I'm gonna check with the powers that be to find out going forward what I can and can't say. But yeah, sorry.
We don't want to violate any kind of.
Let's
NDA
just say a lot. Just
right,
say I'm doing a lot.
We'll say you're doing a lot of characters on the Stern Show.
Tara, you went to California. Now you're living in California.
Living in L.A. Yeah.
And you're a voiceover person. Rosie, I know you do. You can do Rosie. You do.
Hi, Howard. How are you?
She does. She does good voices.
My show is back on the air. I'm very happy about that. I think there's like two Rosies, though. There's like, your friend Rosie, who's just like, Howard, I got the M tattoo. And then there's, welcome to the show, everybody. Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I'm a big fan. We've both been listening for a long time.
I've listened since he was on terrestrial radio. I mean, I go that far back. How long have you been doing stuff on the show?
That's like 10 years too, because that was really the turning point after I won the impression contest in 2010. I guess it's 11 years now, 2010. And then, within a year, I moved out to LA and started doing voiceover stuff full time. So
I do feel like I remember you actually being on the show physically. Am I wrong about that? You were on there once, right?
Many times.
Okay.
I was for the impression contest, the first one, and there was another one next year. And then he at one point had me on the couch and just interviewed me as a guest.
That's the time I'm thinking about. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. That's awesome. How much of that stuff that you do with them, and again, we're not going to get you in trouble, but how much of it's improv and how much of it's scripted? Because it flows really well, like you're just putting it out there, and you're interacting with Howard and other people, and it feels very natural. But I wondered how much, but it's really good. So I'm wondering how much of it was improv as opposed to pre-planned, or is there an outline or whatever?
There's sort of an outline of an idea of like what we're going to do. And then, he's so good to play against, and it's so easy and natural with him. Like, and I'm used to him by now, so I'm less nervous than I used to be.
I can imagine.
And so it just kind of comes out like a conversation. I'd say it's probably a mix of both. Like there's a kernel of an idea, and then we just sort of go with like, what's funny in the moment.
Yeah, that makes sense. Were you a big fan before you got involved in the show?
Oh, totally. I've been listening since like 90, I don't know, like 1990 earlier. My brother's 6 years older than me, so he would listen. And as a like young teenage girl, I hated it. I'd be like, turn that off. It's horrible. But then it just got in my brain, and then I became a huge super fan on my way to college every day. Like I wouldn't even get out of the car because it was still on.
Okay.
And so I've been listening forever.
Same here. I had a job at the time where I could have headphones in, and I was just always every day, every day.
I know. It's
awesome.
like so crazy that we used to have to hear it. You could only hear it once back then.
Yeah, I know. It's true. I do like having the app so I can go back and listen to stuff.
Yeah, you can download it now and like move it to where you want to listen
Plus
to.
Plus video too. I mean, you had video on the E channel for a while, but then now
I watch the E show religiously too. Yeah.
I know you do a solid Robin impression too. You want to give us a little Robin?
Oh, thank you very much. Nobody really knows this one. I don't really let this one out.
Pretty good.
Very cool.
So you did some work with Piat and Michael on The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle 2018. Tell us about that.
Yes, darling, I was Natasha on that show.
Oh, nuts! Mosey's next! Boris is in gloves.
Very cool.
Very good. Were you a June Foray fan?
Yeah. Oh my God. I miss a huge cartoon. I mean, me and my father used to sit on the couch for like hours and watch cartoon after cartoon. And we loved Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Me too.
And
yeah.
That was a great one.
all her voices. I mean, I'd run around the house doing all those cartoon voices, not knowing as a little kid it was June Foray. But then when I got older, I was like, man, one girl's doing all this.
Yeah.
Back then, there was not a ton of women doing character voices for animation. I mean, June Foray was one of them, and probably the most prominent. There's a couple of Gene Vanderpyle, a couple other women doing stuff for the Flintstones, and a lot of Hanna-Barbera stuff, but nothing really, not like a Mel Blanc, not like sort of a male character where you were kind of taking on and doing multiple different voices. So it's great that you're doing that. Were you an impressionist? Were you a fan of old school impressionists?
Yeah, I loved Rich Little. I called myself Rach Little.
Nice.
All right, Rich Little. I talked to him on the phone one time.
You did?
It was right after he had a stroke, and I spoke to his wife, and she was kind enough to put him on the phone, and I just chatted with him briefly, and it was a great experience. But I love all the old guys. I love Frank Gorshin, David Fry, Fred Travalena, Marilyn Michaels. Do you know Marilyn? Have you ever met her?
I haven't met her. No, I remember her though. Yeah.
I think she's in New York, still living, still doing stuff. She just wrote a book. I might contact her and see if I can get her on the pod, because she'd be a cool guest to have.
Totally, you should.
So aside from all your voice work, you've done stand-up comedy. Is that something you still do?
I don't do it anymore.
Oh,
I used to do it when I did it when I first moved out here. I sort of tried my hand at it just because people heard me on Howard and they were asking me to do it. I was like, all right. People always said I should try it. So I tried it and I did it a bunch. I can't say I was ever like in love with it. I would sort of feel really like sad driving home afterwards.
Oh, God,
oh, that's horrible.
I know. I would get like this feeling of excitement sort of on stage, but nervousness, but also like, I don't know why I'm doing this. And then I would kind of cry in my car on the way home. So I was like, I don't think I'm cut out for
not the right career. Then it's one of those things you have to love it. I mean,
yeah, I wish I did. Like, I feel like I could be good at it if I really wanted
you're really
it.
funny. Yeah.
Thank you. But
do you write your own material?
Yeah, I was. Yeah. And I just, I sort of struggle with that. And also like, just knowing like how to make it flow, how to get the impressions in there without it being hacky, how to like make it nice. And so Craig Gass does it beautifully. He weaves these stories and gets the impressions in there. And like, he knows how to do it, but he's pro. He's been doing it for like ever.
I like Craig. There's so much more to it than people, so much work. So much writing
so
and
much
revision
work.
And trying things and flopping and sweating and coming back and changing it again. And just,
I think you have to bomb a couple of times, too, before you get really comfortable with being on stage. And because you start to screw up or lose the audience, and all of a sudden you feel awful. And if you don't know how to recover, that's a tricky thing.
Yeah, it's a horrible feeling. I don't like that.
Did you ever bomb?
Yeah, of course.
I can't imagine you bombing. I would think you'd be funny no matter what.
I mean, I don't know about, I did bomb. Okay. I opened for Carlos Mencia at the Ice House in Pasadena, sort of. I had an agent friend who was like, you know what, go up and do 5 minutes before he comes on. Mm-hmm. That crowd did not like me. I mean, there was not a single laugh. There were angry faces. I was like, okay.
God,
and it was in front of the agent and his people. I was like, oh my God. So that was like winding down. And then I had a bad experience at another place where like the owner yelled at me for cursing. And I was like, what?
And really?
And then I hung it up. I was like, you know what? That's it. I don't need to subject myself to this torture.
Well, you know what? You found your place behind the microphone doing crazy impressions and doing character voices for different stuff. Let's talk a little bit about some of the animated series that you've done. You've recorded character voices for Family Guy. That had to be really cool.
Oh my God. When that finally happened, I was just like, that was like the ultimate,
Seth is a real talent. The guy can sing like a bird, and he's a great sort of character voice / impressionist himself. So a lot of fun. Some of the other stuff you've been on is Golan the Insatiable.
Oh, God, that was really fun, too.
Oh, my God, Alexis, right?
Oh, God, Dylan! Going! What are you two doing here? You invited a giant monster that lives in your house? If I lives in a house, you mean it's ugly, then yeah.
Yeah, that was like, I don't know. I think we were recording for about a year on that one. And it came out as part of Fox ADHD. I don't know if you remember, they were doing an animation
I do.
block.
I remember watching an episode of it, and it was something to do with a demon, right?
Yeah, it was Golan was the big white monster. God, it was so funny, and the animation was so gorgeous, and the guys behind it, Dave Jesser and Nick Weidenfeld, those guys were so great. I loved working with them. Yeah,
very cool. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think you got to do one of the Krangs. Did you do the Krang Prime?
I did Krang Prime, but it was a voice match for Roseanne.
Oh, that's wild.
Because she's Krang. Right?
Well, the original Krang was Pat Fraley, who did his was kind of more like this, you turtles. But I think Rosie did something in one of the films, probably in the 90s or 2000s or something. So that's really cool. Give us a little Rosie if you don't mind. I'd love to hear your Rosie.
Well, I think she had to approve it too, if I recall.
The laugh. You got to have the laugh. That's one of those things that's in her character. I would imagine that's like a major part.
There were so many effects on her voice, and I was, but I do think they told me that it needed approval by her. But that was so long. That was like my first 2 years here or something. That was a while ago.
Was that like 2015-ish or so? I'm trying to remember your IMDb.
It was a while ago. I haven't added any credits in the last couple of years. It's been a rough few years, but
for everybody.
Yeah, for everyone.
Harvey Beaks, can you tell us about that one?
Oh my God, yeah. I was like a reporter or like a photographer or something in that one. Geez, that one was a long time. See, you have to go so many years back because I haven't done anything
all
new.
I did, I went to your IMDb and I'm like, I got to find out some of the projects you worked on. King Star King.
Oh, the best. Yeah. JJ Villard. He's like, I just worked with him yesterday and last week. He's got 2 new projects he's working on.
Very cool.
Really cool one. So yeah, I'm very excited to work with him again. King Star King was this wacky, like, what's it called? Adult Swim in the middle of a night show.
Love Adult Swim. Yeah. I still do. Yeah. I still watch it.
My name is Shmia, and I will take one small diarrhea because it tastes better than your waffles.
Yeah. That's a really fun one. And his animation is just so out there. I love it.
How about High School USA?
Yeah, that was also with Nick Weidenfeld and the gang. God, that's way back. I'm pretty sure that's Nick. I think it was that. And there were 2 things I was doing like at the same time with High School USA. But that was cool because I was sort of doing a Rosie O'Donnell voice a little bit in that one. You look at the character, cool. It looks a little bit like me.
Brad, get down here! I'm trying to watch my commercial! Brad, you have company! Hey, what took you so long, huh?
Yeah, and I have to say you're much prettier than Rosie, so I'm just
thank you.
Tammy's Tiny Tea Time. Do you remember that one?
That one went to the film festival. What's the film festival in Utah?
Sundance? That's
yes.
It's Tammy's Tiny Tea Time. Hi, everybody. Yeah. Hey, Babette. Hey, Thomas.
Yes, hi, whatever.
Hi, Darla.
Well, good afternoon, Miss Sugarpuss. If I didn't know any better, I'd say you'd been plucked recently.
Well, I don't know what plucked means, but if it means I made a swell new friend, then you better believe it.
It went to the film festival and I got to go to the festival and they showed it on the screen. It was so cool. That was 2018.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Space Dogs. You remember that one?
Vaguely. I think that was originally a Russian production that came.
Putin. Yeah. He was a big fan. He loved Space Dog. How about Turbo Fast? You remember doing that?
Yeah, I was a snail. I was a snail called Donatella Versace.
Wow. That's a hell of a snail name.
I know.
Pokemon.
Now that was done before I moved to LA, before I was even in voiceover, before I was on the Stern Show. It was sort of that time period where I did the very first voice match.
Yeah, you're kind of transitioning.
And I think I did it at 4Kids in New York. And it was just like additional voices and stuff because I don't think I was a specific character that like people would know.
Yeah, you're doing supplementary characters or whatever.
Yeah.
How about American Dad?
Yeah, and American Dad. American Dad was sort of around the same time as Family Guy or High School USA. I can't remember. But these were such small characters that I can't. It was like a utility player kind of thing. So they weren't main characters. But just
it's
to like be
super cool though, and to be on either Family Guy or American Dad is got to be huge. So
that was great.
How about Looney Tunes?
Oh,
you're doing Mama Buzzard, I think?
Yes. Yeah, I was just talking to Pete yesterday who...
was that the Italian kind of... The baby bumblebee?
What have you done to my baby boy? Beaky, come back here, Beaky. I mean, I used to watch that as a kid. I
loved it, man.
I loved it. Like, so excited to be able to do that.
Yep. I love the song. He would sing the little buzzard. He'd go, I'm bringing home a baby bumblebee.
I know. It's so cute. Oh, God, I was really proud to be part of that.
Looney Tunes, I watched it on HBO Max, I think has it, the new ones. And the animation is really well done. Mm-hmm. It looks like stuff from the 30s and 40s. I think when we had Bob Bergen on the show, we talked about him doing Porky Pig and stuff. He taught both of us how to do Porky. And he loves Porky, and he's very adamant that you do it correctly.
I know. Yes, I've taken one of his classes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
As the engineer guy, I'm always getting questions about recording and gear and stuff like that. So you've already said that you had a booth built.
Yeah.
Before that, I imagine, were you doing most of your stuff going to studios in LA to record on locations and stuff for these jobs?
Definitely more. Before the pandemic, I was already doing my auditions mostly from home, but I was in a different apartment and I used a closet. I padded it with like sound blankets and stuff, and it was fine. I did jobs from there. But yeah, I sure miss going to the studio to audition with groups. Yeah. There used to be group reads and
and also when you don't have to be the engineer yourself, you can concentrate on the performance. I hate having to make sure I'm not peaking or distorting, but that's the nature of the beast right now. You got to work from home because of the COVID thing. And I think you guys in LA are beginning to lighten up or about to.
Yeah, I was at Cartoon Network yesterday, and I was at Warner Brothers the week before. No one's there. No, I mean, it's empty.
Yeah.
I'm there, and the directors are on a screen, which is like weird, but at least I get to get dressed. I can put pants on and go somewhere.
You get to go out and do a gig, not just work from home.
Well, that's the thing is, for me as a musician, a big part of any gig is the hang.
Yes.
Just getting to be
hang with people, make them laugh. I mean, that's the best one.
Yeah, just getting to see your friends and hang out and talk talk about music or whatever. And even though, I record a lot from home, I'm sure you are too now, it's just not the same,
It's not the same. I mean, you try and keep in touch with people like, let's get lunch, let's do this. But I feel like everyone's sort of just... People are like, I like it. I like never having to go anywhere. And I'm like, what? Really? Am I the only one?
I know people like that, too. They're just like, this is the best thing that's ever happened. It's like,
I can't understand it. To me, it's like the most fun is going to a studio, stepping up to the mic, getting to be a rock star and doing your thing.
Performing
you feel
with
cool.
Other people.
You feel like a badass. You feel like, at least I do anyway.
I think you perform a little better, too, when you're in, even if it's just your peers, you're in a room with other people. So you sort of tend to perform more because you sort of have to. You got to bring your A game. Not that you're not doing that at home, but you know what I mean. When you're in front of people, it's a whole different thing.
There's a different energy.
There is a different energy when you roll out of your bed in your underwear and sit here like a schlub. I mean, I'm speaking for myself.
Me too. I like
get
to be
dressed, get presentable to go meet people, to make those connections, and then do your thing. It's a totally different. It's so different. I don't know. I guess everyone is different, and people like staying home, but I don't.
I don't. I like going to the studio, but fortunately, I'm able to come down here quite often. We're both vaxxed and boosted, so we're good. And if we get COVID, well, then we'll die.
Did you guys ever have you been through the whole thing?
He had COVID.
He did?
I got it before it was cool. I got it.
He got COVID before they had any.
The original.
The March when the shutdown happened. Like
the OG.
A couple of months later in June, I got
it.
Of that same year.
How was it?
Felt really tired for about 4 days. That was it.
He was fine. I called him. He was cutting the grass. I'm like,
really?
All right. Well, if you're not that bad, I'm coming down.
But I got lucky because it's not like that for everybody, obviously.
Some people have a rough time with it, and I do have friends, especially out in L.A., that have passed away. So.
But I haven't had it since, and my wife never got it. And I didn't quarantine from her. I mean, it's just
that's a thing. My cousin's husband had it. She didn't get it. My friend had it. Husband had it. She didn't get it. And they obviously lived together. So it's very mysterious. Who knows?
I don't know. What are you going to do? I'm no virologist.
Rick didn't get it either. We're working together. You know?
Yeah, I was here the day he was sick. I was sitting right here, and I never got it.
And we were making out and stuff, too. And he still didn't get it.
And he's a good kisser, I got to tell you. Anyway, I know you were on both the Howard Stern Show impression contest, which you won, and you were on the USA's first impression with Dana Carvey. That had to be a fun experience.
Dude, that was so much fun. That day was amazing. It was at this really cool bar that they sort of turned into a studio. And Dana was there. I was sitting in the makeup chair next to him, and we were just like shooting the shit about impressions and stuff.
Oh, that's great. Wow.
He was so friggin' nice. And then Tom Arnold was the other judge. So I was standing on that stage doing there was a bowl of impressions. You had to pick and then do them.
Oh, wow. I saw the episode you were on, and I was very impressed. I'm like, wow, she's really, really talented. Very cool.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a great day. It was so much fun.
I've only heard good things about Dana Carvey being such a nice guy.
Such a sweetheart.
Everybody I've heard talk about him says
I regret not getting his number. I should have got his phone number.
Yeah, you should have.
I'm too shy, though. I'm shyer than you might imagine.
That's hard to believe because you come across as very brassy and bold.
Only if you talk to me first, but I can't. I have a hard time asking for like help or your number because I feel I don't want to be rejected, so I just get really shy and I don't want to put myself out there.
Wow, as an actor, that's a tough spot to be in because there's so much rejection.
I know.
But,
I think that's true of a lot of artistic types. I mean, I've got no game whatsoever.
I have no game,
and luckily I married the first girl that paid attention to me. It turned out to be a great thing.
Oh, thank God.
But, yeah, exactly. But if I had to be on the dating scene now, forget about it.
Oh, it's horrible.
I couldn't do it.
Come on. You can
horrendous.
Pull it off.
I don't think so. We were talking about impressionist. Do you have a favorite old school impressionist, like someone that you grew up listening to? We talked a bit about that.
About Rich Little. Do you like anybody else?
Well, to me, it was Tracy Ullman because she,
I love Tracy Ullman.
She is amazing. I mean, I watched her. She always had an HBO show. There was a new one every couple of years. And I would watch all her characters and voices and run around the house repeating all of them. I still do. Well, the Rosenthal's from Long Island. She was like this, Jewish lady whose daughter was getting married and she hated the in-laws and all that. And I just thought she was incredible. And I was like, I could do that too. I could do those voices too. So I've worshipped her for a long, long time.
I remember her show on MTV, I think it was, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
That's where The Simpsons started, on the Tracy Ullman show, way back when.
She doesn't really get her due. She needs,
she's on Curb now. I don't know if you've seen the latest episodes of Curb.
She's so funny. I don't like putting anything where the lymph is. The lymph.
Yeah, she wants Larry to give her a kiss, and she's got crap in her mouth.
Oh, she's so good. She's
incredibly talented lady.
She's very unsung, but she's definitely, because there were few female impressionists, like you said. So she was the one I really modeled it after and was like, oh, I could do all those voices.
Hey, you guys talk. The sun came out. I've got to go shut this
down. I see. Look at that.
It's blinding me. I can't see.
Casper the Friendly Ghost all of a sudden.
I was going to say, I am a big Frank Gorshin fan. I think we talked about that a little bit. The guy that played the Riddler on the Batman TV show. It's probably well before your time.
But he had didn't he have a radio show or a podcast or something where he did, is that him?
He did a one-man show. He was doing, I think, George Burns. I can't remember for sure, but that's toward the end of his life. Early in his career, he would do Kirk Douglas and Burt Lancaster. That was like his big go-to impressions.
Yeah.
Do you have a go-to impression? Something that you really love and just kind of do?
Well, I really do love, and I don't get a chance a lot to do Rosie O'Donnell because she's not often, she's kind of like not really prominent in the news right now. She doesn't have a show right now. But whenever I do her, people really seem to respond to it. I don't know.
That's a great impression.
It's a great impression.
I
remember seeing her. She was in a movie. All my friends made fun of me because I thought she was hot. She was in a movie called East of Eden. Yeah, and she wears that black outfit. And
hot.
If I was Dan Aykroyd, I would tap it. I mean, I would get up in that.
She looked great in that outfit. Yeah, she was a cutie.
And your Rosie is excellent. So that's very cool.
Thank you so much. I feel like I kind of wish Rosie was more, in the light so I could get that impression. I mean, people know who it is and they like it, but she was in a show called Smilf, like 2 years ago that was so good. And I tried to I was like, did you see me in Smilf? I'm very understated. I'm a really good actor, but I don't know if people are clamoring for a Rosie O'Donnell impression.
That is funny how different things sort of come in and out of vogue. I know Rick does a lot. He usually, whoever's the president, he'll learn the voice. And, by the time it's relevant, then it's not relevant again. And
I know. I try to stay away from political impressions just because the world is so crazy right now. Like you can't. It's
that's
not
one of
like
those things.
The PC thing is killer for me. I think it's killing comedy, and unfortunately, I mean, there are comedians that can't perform on certain campuses at universities because their material is too
can or won't. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, both, I think.
Well, plus, if you're in any kind of artistic endeavor or an entertainer of any kind, I know with me as a musician up from stage, I never mention anything about politics because you're going to piss off half the people.
Half the people right are going to be angry, and the other half. And that's why it's so tough to do a Biden impression right now.
I know.
It's kind of like you can do it, but if you do it, half the people, like you said, are going to think you're picking on an old, senile, doddering old man.
Right.
And you don't want that. Trump you could get away with because he was Trump.
He's a character. He's such
everybody does it, and he's such a character. And people have been doing it since before he was president and everything. But it's just like
even since you're fired,
It's just when you run the risk. And it used to be able to maybe it was always charged when you did political. I never was a political, so I never really did political figures.
I think so. I think it's recent. The other one that's tough too is some impressionists are now afraid to do like Morgan Freeman if you're a white guy. I still do Morgan Freeman. I don't care. He's a human being. I imitate all kinds of human beings, and it doesn't matter. We're all human.
Impressions are different because it's not a lot of people can do impressions. And so it's like, I don't know. Who knows what you can and can't do anymore.
It is a crazy world now. You don't know how to approach it,
The majority of your work, are you getting from your agents or are you getting it like word of mouth? How's that working?
Yeah, it's mostly, I'd say it mostly comes through the agency and some repeat business, like people who know me, who've like used me before or who I've worked with before. Once in a while, we'll reach out and be like, hey, I got this project, and then I'll put it through the agency or whatever. But yeah, it's mostly just auditions through the agent and then some people I know.
We were talking about Bob Bergen earlier and how he knew from such a young age that he wanted to be a voice actor.
He was 14 and called Mel Blanc.
In high school, he knew, I'm going to not just be a voice actor, I'm going to be Porky Pig. Like he knew that.
Did he grow up in California? Because how did he know? I mean, I grew up in Bullwinkle, New Jersey.
They moved there. He was like 14. They moved to California, and immediately he found the phone book, and he knew Mel Blanc's wife's name, and he was able to find him and call him, and then he set up like a tape recorder, and then recorded himself. And he sounds like he's 14. He's like, "Hi, Mr. Blank, I want to be Porky Pig someday. Can you show me how to do that?"
I wish I knew anything with that kind of conviction. I mean, I never had anything like that.
I can't imagine, being that young, and I mean, it was even before cell phones. He had to like set up different phones in the house with a recorder and keep dialing and hit record until he found the right blank in the phone book.
Yeah,
and his mom came home at some point and she picked up one of the receivers. He's like, "Mom, get off the phone! I'm talking to Mel Blanc."
Oh my God! I mean, that is amazing.
Funny.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
The recording's on his website, I think. You can go on there.
Yeah, it's on our podcast too. We had him.
But aside from him, everybody else has had your story where, I kind of did this thing and then it became a career, and so very cool.
I wish I knew sooner. I mean, I just didn't know that it was I don't know why I didn't know, because I watched cartoons. Obviously, it was the voice of people, but I just didn't think anything was possible.
Yeah.
Well, now you know differently, and you're a big time success.
Yeah, and you're still young. You got
great.
plenty of voiceover years ahead of you.
Well,
Still a young lady.
We'll see. I just turned 50 in January.
Well, you look great.
You look absolutely spectacular. So there you go.
I'm not looking to have a Me Too moment. I'm just saying you look really nice.
No Me Too. No hashtag Me Too.
I was on their podcast and they were hitting on me.
Well,
yeah, right. Please hit on me, somebody.
Hit on me. What are you waiting for?
Hit on me, please.
My wife's right upstairs. You're extremely safe with me right now.
Absolutely. And she'll keep me under control, too.
Hey, guys.
I know you're on social media. I've seen you on Instagram. Are you on anything else, or is that kind of...
That's it. I got, rid of Twitter, and I don't do that. And I'm basically on Instagram. It's like a private account. I've scaled back, let's just say.
Well, I follow you, so I'm able to see some of the stuff you do. And, some of your posts are pretty... tasty.
I'm a performance artist.
Yes, you are.
Listen, when I was a kid, I didn't want to be a voiceover actor. I wanted to be a model. All right. But I was always so roly-poly that wasn't going to happen. But now today, anyone can be hot and sexy on Instagram. And so I definitely take advantage of that. And I won't deny that it became a thing that I really like being looked at as, because for the first half of my life, I was told I was like fat and disgusting. And now it's like, guys like me and I like it.
Good.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
You and Rick have that in common. He wanted to be a model too when he was a kid.
That's right. I wanted to be a plus size male model.
I still want to be a model at 50. Okay, no, just kidding.
Do you have any upcoming projects you can talk about that aren't covered by an NDA? I don't want to get you in trouble if you say anything. We can always just cut it right out of the pod. I
didn't sign an NDA for the last couple of things I did, but you don't know if you're if I'm supposed to. I can just say, from the creator of King Star King, I have a couple of projects that I'm working on with him. What else did I do? I think I just did some looping for nothing, no big shows that I can give you, nothing juicy that I can give you like a name to. Like I'm the main character on this upcoming Netflix show. Like it's
I'll
nothing
be Starfish
like that.
Man.
So tell the audience what looping is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So looping, this was such an amazing eye opener for me when I moved here. Looping is, it's done in post-production. So after the movie or the TV show is made, or the cartoon, you have to sort of go over, there's a couple different things. Like you can, if it's a cartoon and you need to go over what somebody did, you sort of look at the picture, watch the animation, and you match up your voice to their lip flaps, and then you have to take over this character. Yeah. It's kind of interesting. And then in movies, they have loop groups where it's people who do the voices of background stuff in movies. So I think they call it
Walla. They used to call it Walla. I don't know if they still do.
Yeah.
How much voice matching do you do?
I do quite a bit. I used to do more. The industry's just changing and things are crazy because of COVID right now. Yeah. I've done a bunch of that though. I think I did Susie Orman on an episode of the Mindy Project, and that was a looping thing. And I did some Judy Garland, and I've done Melissa McCarthy for a couple of trailers. So I've done a bunch. Yeah.
I think from your website, I think it mentioned it was I can't think. It was an HBO show. I'm trying to think of it where you did Judy Garland. Were you speaking or singing?
Not singing. No, I could never.
It was
sing
Lovecraft.
Lovecraft Country. Yeah.
Which was really well done. I enjoyed it, and I'll have to go back and check it out. So you were speaking. Was there a scene where there was a black and white shot of her or something, or what?
I think it was an interview with her.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that. I don't quite remember, but it was really cool gig. I mean, those gigs they're amazing. They're I didn't even know that was a thing until I moved here. And I was like, oh, the background sounds in movies are, they fill them in with other voices and stuff.
Yeah. I was going to talk a little bit about video game stuff. I know you did Fallout 76. I think Piat did some stuff too.
I actually do have a big video game coming out. They were supposed to release something in January. I don't know if it's going to be April, but that's probably one of my bigger things. I'm a player, so you get to like pick me and dress me and customize
Play with
me.
you.
Yeah. So
Very cool.
That's going to be a big one, but I don't think I can say the name. I don't know anymore.
We know you're very talented and you're working all the time and doing crazy good. So that's awesome. I don't know do you know how much your IMDb says you're worth?
I think my brother just told me one thing says I'm worth $31 million.
I saw it. I was telling Wes, I go, she's worth $31 million.
Can I show you the 1-bedroom apartment? Let me just it's a dark hole. It's a cave with no light.
I'm seeing 31 mil there.
Yeah.
People can look in my kitchen. It's 31 mil for sure. I'm in a box. Okay. Yeah.
Oh. Well, you're on your way to that 31 million, and I rejoice in your success.
I know. Maybe I should just fake it and be like,
just
I am worth 31
Just speak with
million.
I'm so wealthy.
I just said I'm going to pretend to be a wealthy widow. Like, can I start dressing and acting like that?
Yeah. Travel to France or Italy. And
walk around talking like Mrs. Howell.
Yes, darling. Thurston, darling.
All right. Well, you have been great, and we don't want to hold you up any longer.
Thank you, guys. Are awesome. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much for this. I was just going to ask you, and I think Rick already mentioned it, just giving us some kind of an out as well. We were trying to decide if it was going to be Wanda
or Rosie.
I think let's see. I can give you how about Rosie, and I can give you a couple different ones if you want.
Sure. Yeah, why not?
Now I emailed you some copy, but you can just wing it. You can say thanks, Rick and Wes, for having me on. This is Rachel Butera, or however you want to do it. Just Talking Voiceovers is the name of the podcast episode.
Talking Voiceovers. Okay.
Yeah, and if you blow it, don't worry. Piat blew it many times, but eventually he got it perfect. So.
All right. So here we go. Hello, this is Rosie O'Donnell. You've been listening to Rick and Wes with special guest Rachel Butera on Talking Voiceovers. I don't know if you want me to say it's actually that person, but probably not. But
no, that was good. That was great.
All right, you've been listening to Talking Voiceovers with Rick and Wes and special guest Rachel Butera. Have a good day.
Nice.
All right, you know what? If you want a little bit of Mindy Kaling, you've been listening to Rick and Wes with special guest Rachel Butera. I don't know who that is. With Talking Voiceovers. Okay, make sure you listen to the whole thing. Okay, thank you.
Nice.
And you should try to get Sarah Silverman on your pod. Hey, this is Sarah Silverman. When are you going to have me on Talking Voiceovers? I've done voiceover. I did Wreck-It Ralph. All right?
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a great impression.
Thanks.
Well, you're very talented. I went to your website and was able to check out a bunch of your impressions and top-notch stuff. So really, really good.
Thank you so much.
Of all the things you've done, I have to say, for me, it's a thrill to talk to someone who's been directly associated with the Howard Stern Show. And that's just me, you know.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. Before I was on that show, all I wanted to do was be on that show. I just would dream about it.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad your dream came true.
Well, you're a good asset to it. The stuff you do on there is great. It's so funny.
Thank
you. Really
is.
And it really fits into the show so well. So.
Thank you so much, guys.
All right, we're going to let you go so you can go drink coffee.
This is a nice ego shot.
Yeah,
Thank
good.
you.
All right, we'll talk to you, Rachel. Thank you so much.
All right, bye.
Have a great day.
Have a good weekend. Thanks, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Rachel Butera, super talented lady, so gracious with her time, great performer. I love her impressions.
Yep, just super talented, and we wish her the very best. Stay tuned, because next time, episode number 8, season 3 of Talkin' Voiceovers, we have the incredible Mitch Zlotnick. He is the owner of Audimute. They're in Cleveland, Ohio, and Audimute specializes in soundproofing and research and development. They can treat your recording studios to create the perfect broadcast quality home studio.
Yeah, we took a tour of his place. It's really, really impressive.
Very cool.
They've turned acoustic treatment into art over there.
They really have, and if you're a voice actor and you need soundproofing for your home recording studio, that's an episode you want to hear. So, talk to you guys next time. Have a great one.
Thank you so much. Samantha, take us out.
I'm Samantha Fagan, and you're listening to Talkin' Voiceovers. Be sure and subscribe to Talkin' Voiceovers. Hit like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Before you book your next voiceover demo, check out PrimoDemos.com. You'll hear the difference.
Hey guys, before we let you go, no matter where you are in your VO career, continuing education is an integral part of that journey. Live VO Takeover gathers industry-respected professionals to bring education to the art and business of voiceover to talent of all levels. Learn more about upcoming classes and workouts at www.livevotakeover.com. And thanks, John Ciano. You rock!
Thanks for listening to Talkin' Voiceovers with Rick Sellers and Wes McCraw. Find us on Facebook or on the web at primodemos.com.